Hi, here to discuss our Mod 7. So, the course that I picked was financial literacy, and the topic I chose was credit and its importance. The four strategies I picked. So, let me go ahead. I'll start presenting here. So, the four strategies I picked for instructor centered. I picked questioning. I picked questioning because it's been covered in multiple of our classes this summer for Fort Hays. They've stressed the importance of good questions, deep level thinking questions. So I thought it should be something that I would work on and stress as well. I also think it just drives some student engagement and things like that, kind of draws them into the lesson. You see exactly where they're at, gives you some good pre-formative assessments before you can start a lesson. For individualized, I chose computerized instruction. So let me get to that. Oh, sorry, I just skipped one. For interactive, I chose group projects. I chose group projects because it's going to get them, it drives engagement, conversation. When there's more than one person, there's more viewpoints, bigger knowledge bank to pick from. So I thought that would be good as well. Kind of gives them another person to bounce some ideas off of. And it encourages a certain level of team bonding and a cooperative atmosphere by working with their peers. For individualized, I chose computerized instruction. Students need to get creative and find ways to get things done. Technology in this kind of does that. And if some of them, maybe aren't as tech savvy now, which most of them would be, but if they aren't, almost any job now incorporates some level of tech. So, getting them familiar with everything online that they can use is always a good thing. And it just lets them know maybe what are some other resources online that they can use in the future, places to go. Experiential, I chose role playing. A lot of this was for the interactive portion. It gets them up and active, having fun, as well as being able to simulate actual situations. So that's helpful too. That's just going to pull them into the lesson, get them really engaged and invested in the lesson. And if they're having fun, they're going to be learning. So I saw putting them through some real life situations, like in this lesson, for example, it is going around. One station is where they're getting a loan. One is where they're getting groceries. They have these different places where they have to pay for things or get things. So it kind of puts them through real life situations. There's going to be some stresses that happens there, just gets them used to those kinds of things. So I thought that would be a lot of fun for them. One area I struggled, and I will go ahead and stop presenting here. So one area that I struggled was just being creative in how to do something multiple different ways. Going into something, we always have that best way or the way we want to do things. This assignment kind of made you use your best idea, but then you had to come up with other ways to do it as well. And doing that, you kind of come up with some ways that you almost like just as much. So it was struggling to find multiple ways, but definitely some advantages to it. Takeaways related to planning, how fun, but also how time consuming it can be. It's fun to think of these different things students can do, but then you're like, what materials am I going to need? Am I going to need to bring in other people? How long is it going to take? So just kind of how much goes into the planning. Differences in planning and teaching online versus face-to-face. Online seems to add a couple more steps to some things. Some more things can kind of go wrong, but each side kind of lets you do certain ideas or takes away certain ideas that you no longer can do. COVID-19 impact on instruction. So it's forced, I think, instructors to adapt faster than what they typically would have. It lets them pick up some things before they typically would have. But one thing about instruction, I think they've adapted to the remote learning, but the connecting with students, having to build a bond with students, a relationship online, I think is much tougher. So I think that's one thing, one of the big ways that COVID has impacted education so far, and hopefully that continues to get better. But that is my Mod 7. Thanks.